going to pass the baton to our first presenter. And our first presenter is Robyn. And Robyn is a computer science major, and she did her project under the direction of Dr. George Toscano. And the title of her project is Data to Defense, Utilizing NLP for Real-Time Cyber Threat Detection. So without further ado, Robyn. Go ahead.
Hi everybody, again, my name is Robyn. So before I start my presentation, I just want to fill you guys in that this was based off of already published literature, my research, and experience. So I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to start off with what is NLP and cyber threats. So NLP stands for natural language processing, and in short is basically allowing machines to communicate with human language and to be able to understand what we're talking about. The goal is to be able to talk to machines and for them to understand what we're trying to tell them in terms of cyber threat detection. And what is a cyber threat? It is a malicious activity trying to harm your machines or get personal information from you willingly or unauthorized. So the intro and background of NLP, so cyber threats have been increasingly sophisticated when it comes to trying to get into our systems or to get our information. So with NLP, it offers a promising solution to be able to prevent these cyber threats, but also be able to detect before it even happens. So this is going to review how we can use NLP models to prevent cyber threat detection, and there's a couple ways and methods that we can use this. So some of the topics of interest that I've chosen, of course there's so many that we can choose from when it comes to NLP, but I chose insider threat detection using sentiment analysis, phishing detection, which is a social engineering attack, and chatbots, and we are going to get into what those are in a little bit. So to start off, insider threat detection is sentiment analysis, and what sentiment analysis is, it sounds complicated, but it's really not. It's pretty much machines trying to understand your tone, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral, using the words that we use in social media or when it comes to messages. So the purpose of using sentiment analysis is pretty much we can use social media like Twitter to find the words and targeting negative words, because usually that's what malicious attacks use. So as you can see from this little diagram here, what they tried to do is find the spreading knowledge of information security. The description is, he or she doesn't want to give knowledge of information of security to other people. So that was the category that they found the Twitter tweet on. So based off of the words that was used, they put it in the category of yes or no if it was a malicious threat. And some of the used words, not going to mention it, but as you can see there, were some pretty negative words. And by using these negative words, it can detect that this was a pretty negative response, and that's going to lead to detecting cyber threats through social media, especially Twitter. So next is phishing detection using a social engineering attack. So what a social engineering attack is, basically trying false advertisement of trying to get your sensitive information willingly. So as you can see with this picture here, it's actually an email a lot of us students got here at Tamuk, and it mentions urgency, false advertisement, which is $550 weekly payment, too good to be true, and it also has some grammar errors there, but it's asking click here to apply. So some of us kind of say, oh my gosh, that's so cool, like I'm gonna click it, but at the end of the day, if we click that, it's going to probably harm our software, or it's gonna take us to a form to get our personal information. And so the methodology that was used for the social engineering attack is using a multi-layer perceptron, which is pretty much a method for NLP to use patterns and detect cyber threats. It's really that simple. So next, we have chatbots. They are a automated conversational agent to talk with users using NLP. So there's been an increase in cyber threats, but a lot of businesses haven't really decided to, I guess, take it seriously until it actually happens where their businesses get caught up and all their information gets stolen, their money gets stolen because of the cyber attacks. So to counter, there have been actually more investments in cybersecurity. So with the advancement of NLP and machine language techniques, this allows chatbots to help us using, again, social media, and it's going to use sentiment analysis, again with Twitter like we just saw, to see the negative words, to see positive words, or to kind of get that cyber threat before it actually attacks us. So what they did was they developed their own chatbot using Bot Libre, which is just a free chatbot maker app or website. So that uses the conversational feature, meaning it can converse with human language through social media to detect if they're going to use, I guess, threats to get, through social media to get our information. And again, it uses Twitter to maintain that conversation with human. So some challenges that we found when using NLP in cybersecurity is that cyber criminals every day are improving their ways into getting into our systems, to hacking anything or to making our systems crash. And with this, there has been a decline in professionals that use, or that are professional in cyber threats. So we're kind of left with like, well, if they're not going to do it, then who is? Next, there's less of a language variety. Really, there's only a lot of English, and they're getting used to English language rather than Spanish words, negative Spanish words, maybe French Spanish words, or French words, not French Spanish. So yeah, there's just less of a language variety, and that's leading to more vulnerable systems. Next is also imitation attacks, which is just cyber criminals using fake models to practice with to get their information in hopes that victims like us react the same way as their practice models do to, again, get our insider information or to hack into our systems. And again, if the victim interacts with the imitator, it can lead to big security issues. So some gaps in the literature that I read was that there was a lack of real-time examples, meaning that they just found an overall problem and tried to find a way to fix it rather than, okay, this actually happened, how are we gonna fix that specific time? Next is there's not a wide diversity of approaches, meaning that there's decision tree algorithm, there's chatbots, but that's really all we got to know instead of finding other methods that we can use for NLP and cyber threats. Next, there was a focus on cyber threat detection in social media. So what about when it comes to clicking on website links or maybe false form links? We're just left to see what they're doing with social media rather than other things that we use for everyday life. And last, there are new techniques, but it comes to lead with dependability questions because the authors that use these techniques, it worked better for them, but what if it doesn't work better for us? And it was kind of all the same techniques, so what are other methods or techniques that we can use that are also dependable instead of just kind of relying on what they say if it's biased or not? So with everything that is happening in the world today, there is a big uprising in technology, and with that, there is a future of NLP and cyber threats. So the research methods on AI, MLP, and machine learning algorithms have very much increased. And so some of these emerging trends are threat forecasting, kind of like weather forecasting, predicting maybe a week before if you're gonna get a cyber threat. Next is AI-powered threat intelligence, using like social media posts, reports to identify these threats, something that's happened in the past, maybe we can use it for the future, kind of like history. Advanced chatbot assistance, which is using NLP-driven chatbots in social media again, or just using it in real time, maybe like websites or pop-ups. And then last would be enhanced fraud detection, where NLP can see unusual writing styles. So if you're in an English class, you write a certain way, and then use AI and it writes a different way, it can detect, it's kind of like that, it can detect if you're using faulty wording or if somebody's trying to imitate you and it's not really fitting with your pattern. So in conclusion, studies show that there are effective ways that we can use NLP in cyber threat detection. Each method does have a process that it has to go through, but at the end of the day, they found a way that works. And with increasing technology, NLP and cyber threats are increasing as well. But although promising, we should not rely on using NLP for cyber threat detection. We should focus on using cybersecurity professionals to help us out rather than just relying on technology to protect our sensitive information. But overall, this project was to highlight how we can use NLP for cyber threat detection, the upcoming of using machines to protect our sensitive information, and hopefully we can, at the end of the day, continue to research and get better when it comes to protecting our information. Any questions?
Do you think there's been more phishing attempts for Temple lately?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not sure if you've gotten any of the emails, but there have been a lot with the urgently needing workers. We're paying $400 a week. Yeah, there has been a lot of, especially hacking into actual student accounts. So a lot of people get tricked because they hack into someone that has students at Temple.edu, and it makes us think, oh, they're trying to contact us, but at the end of the day, they're not really real.
I don't know if you said this in your, maybe, but you know the possible, who are the ones responsible for these, I guess, attacks or trying to get after students at Temple?
So it's definitely some type of cyber criminal. I'm not for sure who it is, but it's somebody who's obviously advanced with working with machines, working with computers, and being able to hack into the overall system, but also being able to hack into our emails to be able to use our students at Temuk. So it's advanced cyber criminals. I'm not sure exactly who though.
Do you think this NLP research will be, like, once it's used more, it'll be immediately accessible to individuals as well as companies, or do you think it'll kind of start more in industry, helping industry out, and then it'll trickle down to helping individuals, students or things like that?
I think it might start with helping out individuals first rather than using it on a complete business, only because if you were to develop something, take it to a business immediately, if that business gets compromised, then all the information is lost. But if you were to try it on the individuals, maybe with new systems or something that doesn't have so much information on it, it'll help detect, see if it's actually reliable, and then start leading into the businesses. Thank you. Oh,
I have two questions.
okay.
The first one is, and maybe a follow-up to what Esperanza was saying, is this technology at some point gonna be cell phone accessible? Because I just think that a lot of people, we do a lot of walls and spyware and all of that for computers, but a lot of us are probably clicking on our phones and then getting hacked or getting, like, I can't even tell you how many of my friends have been like, oh, I've been hacked. And it's always through, very often through their phones. Is there either NLP or software or something that will be coming so that our phones are more protected?
Oh, absolutely. I think when it comes to machines, it's anything connected to the internet. So if it's using NLP, like chatbots, we can use virtual chatbots through like websites and some things, like the little things that pop up and say like, hey, I'm your personal assistant. Things like that. I think it's already being implemented into the phone, but are used on computers because they're a much, I guess, bigger software to hack into. But absolutely, I think it's going to be on the come up when using iPhones.
And the last question is, what was the most valuable lesson that you learned working on this?
I think it's good that going to be able to use NLP for cyber threat detection, because at the end of the day, it's going to help like IT, when they're in a fast-paced working setting, it can kind of help detect that whenever, you know, they're not being able to attend to their computers. But also that we can't rely, like, as cool as it sounds that we can use something for cyber threat detection, we shouldn't rely on it completely, because at the end of the day, it is a computer system and it's going to make mistakes. And it's still learning. There are methods and processes that it goes through to learn. But yeah, as cool as it sounds, we shouldn't completely rely on it.
Thank you so much.